Hello, everybody. I am Drew Duncan. Do not forget that Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram is all at Drew Duncan Radio. Additionally, you can find me on YouTube and Patreon by looking for Drew Duncan Radio. And do not forget that I am wherever you're listening to podcasts. Simply tell your device to play Drew Duncan on Spreaker, Google Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Deezer, wherever you're listening to podcasts. I am there. Boy, McGregor wins, and two things happen. Number one, the fanboy brigade came roaring back, all the McGregor jock riders. And then Nate Diaz proved to me that he is yet the biggest McGregor fan that there really is, right? He put out on Twitter right after the fight, this shit's all fake.
It's all fake, meatball. All fake.
It's all fake, meatball. That's my favorite line from that movie, by the way. Look, man. Or one of them, I should say. Look. First of all, there was this thing that Donald Cerrone had addressed beforehand. And I have no idea where it came from. In fact, I would have never known that it had ever even happened had Donald Cerrone not decided to go ahead and put out the vibe there himself by saying, hey, you know what? People are saying that I'm getting paid to take a dive, and it's just not the way that it works. Now, I remember very vividly interviewing Cub Swanson, and I'm going to reiterate this very quickly from my last podcast, that I interviewed him, and we talked about that, and he said that he doesn't want to believe that anybody in MMA is going to take a dive because there's just too much on the line. There's entirely too much on the line. Do you understand? And so what's on the line is pride, the warrior mentality. I'm not going to let anybody pay me off. And for anybody who didn't really see what the hell happened there, first of all, Donald Cerrone's face looked like it had been through a meat grinder, the same way that Nate Diaz's face looked like it had been through a meat grinder after McGregor beat the hell out of him for 5 rounds. And those shoulder hits, Cerrone had no idea where he was. He was like, yeah, you know, those elbows. It wasn't even elbows that hit him. It was shoulder contact. So Cerrone didn't know what the hell was going on. McGregor had beat the hell out of him, and that's pretty much all there was to that. So I'm just going to put that baby to bed right now and tell you that, no, I don't believe that there is a conspiracy that is worth entertaining, at least at this juncture, that McGregor is out there scamming people, setting up fights. And let's be honest, Diaz needed McGregor to lose so that way he could set up a trilogy fight because he needs another payday. That's pretty point blank, isn't it? That's exactly what Nate Diaz needed. Remember when McGregor decided he was going to go box? Nate Diaz said, oh, I'm going to go get my boxing license. Remember when McGregor said that he was back in MMA? Nate Diaz announced his return to MMA. Remember when Conor McGregor retired, Nate Diaz said he was going to retire. Remember that? I mean, Nate Diaz just kind of follows this dude around. Like, I don't know what the hell the MO is or what the psychology is behind it, but it's beyond annoying, and I wish it would stop already. I had so much respect for Nate Diaz in all of my years of watching MMA and now covering MMA, and it's frustrating to watch this happen. It's gotten to the point where it's just like, dude, stop, bro. Just stop. As far as the actual fight goes, the fanboy, the jock riders, boy, they came out of the woodwork. So many people, because of all the outside BS that's been going on with Conor McGregor, man, they were just praying on that downfall and hoping he'd get his ass whipped, right? Now all of a sudden, it's all the champ is back. The champ is back, and so many people are, oh, I love this humble McGregor. Oh, I love this style of McGregor. The other version of McGregor got so old, and it was tired already, and it's good to see him be so humble in victory and defeat. It's just good to see McGregor like this. When he was that way after a loss, people were saying, oh, he had to be. He had to be after that nonsense with Mayweather. He had to be after the first Diaz fought and he lost, forgetting that he took that fight, 2 weeks out? After he got beat by Khabib. Oh, he's real humble now. People were talking about it during the press conference. right? Weren't they quoting Habib when Habib said he was going to humble McGregor? And people say, oh, look what he's done. Then, of course, all this stuff, punching guys and bars for no reason, especially elderly guys, and all the alleged other accusations that have come out against Conor McGregor. And man, all of a sudden, nah, I was rooting for you all the way, champ. See, to me, the people that are calling it fake and rigged are the people who just can't stand the fact that McGregor won. And he did what he set out to do. He worked hard in the gym. He trained. He didn't do a lot of promoting this fight. Not that it really needed it. It's Conor McGregor and Donald Cerrone. And look, we all know that Cerrone took it because it's a payday. But we also know why Tyrone Woodley said McGregor's name too, don't we? Why Nate Diaz says it. Why Jorge Masvidal says it. Because fighting McGregor's a guaranteed meal ticket right now. Especially now that he won the fight. See? You see how quickly that happens? The whole thing just turns, man. Never ceases to amaze me. I'm a movie buff, right? Obviously, you just heard the Hulk Hogan thing in there, right? From Rocky 3, but I'm a huge movie buff, and I'm sure that a good majority of us, if you're listening, Independence Day, right? When we first meet the president in Independence Day, and it gets discussed about how he was young and idealistic, and the message has gotten lost, and it's too much politics, and he turns to her and he goes, isn't it amazing how quickly everyone can turn against you? They did it to Ronda Rousey. They did it to McGregor. Look, whether or not you're a Conor McGregor fan, to think that fight was set up the way that Donald Cerrone looked, believe me when I tell you, it's not worth it to risk your very literal life from the kind of hits that you will take inside that cage. If you think that Cerrone did this, go look at his face. Didn't he put up a picture, right? I mean, wasn't it a $1 million surgery or whatever the hell it was after the fact that Cerrone needed? If you think it was worth all that, then by all means, pimpin', you go right on ahead. Call it fake. I'm not buying it. I'm also not buying the idea that McGregor is back. I'm not buying the idea that McGregor is back for one simple reason. He fought an aged Cerrone, not an in his prime Cerrone. And look, look, you can't take away the accomplishments of McGregor or Cerrone. You just can't. McGregor, 3 different weight classes, victories, 2 different weight classes, belts. One of the highest pay-per-view buys ever with him and Mayweather. You cannot knock what McGregor's accomplished and what he still has the potential to do. I'm not buying the fact that he's back yet, but it certainly does seem like it on the surface. And I will say this, he's semi-back in the driver's seat. The popularity is there all over again. Whether you love him or hate him, it has resurfaced, it has re-skyrocketed, and McGregor Mania 2.0 is upon us for the time being. McGregor's talked about taking 3 or 4 fights this year. Is it going to be Woodley? Is it going to be Jorge? Are we going to get a rematch with Habib? Remember, Habib said that McGregor needed to win a couple of fights first. And McGregor would also have to lose weight to get back down. And folks, losing that type of weight after you've gained so much and had to pack on so much, I'm telling you right now, it's not that easy. There's a reason why McGregor, once he moved up and he got that second belt, there was a reason why he was never going to go back down. It wasn't going to happen. I don't agree with anybody holding up the division. Something Habib has chosen not to do, which I definitely applaud. But McGregor is going to have to, and look, fact of the matter is simply this. I mean, McGregor came in at 170 pounds. Lightweight is at what, 154? Isn't that what Habib is fighting at right now? That's a 16-pound muscle loss. That's huge. So whether or not McGregor's even going to be able to go back down is a big deal. First of all, and even if he is, how successful will he be? Maybe McGregor proved that he still has the power to be able to match welterweight. So obviously he would still have power down in lightweight, but I'm telling you, losing that kind of poundage would be a tremendous deal. I mean, at this juncture, I think we need to start talking about whether or not McGregor is going to be a champion in the third weight class. I really do. I think welterweight might be somewhere where he's at. He did say he's very comfortable there. I don't know. Look, here's the bottom line to all this. Nate Diaz needs to cut the fanboy nonsense out. It's tired already. Stop doing everything McGregor's doing. All right. The other thing is I don't know that McGregor can lose the weight to get back down to lightweight from welterweight. The other thing is I don't think that this was a dive by Cerrone. And he's doing it for the same reason that anybody else is doing it, whether it's Woodley or whomever. It's to get a payday, but that's why everybody fights, plays sports. You're good at what you do. You deserve the payday, and so, of course, you take the payday. If you can get it, why wouldn't you take it? I am Drew Duncan. Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram is all at Drew Duncan Radio. Additionally, you can find me on YouTube and Patreon at Drew Duncan Radio. Do not forget that I am wherever you're listening to podcasts. Simply tell your device to play Drew Duncan on Spreaker, Spotify, Google Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Deezer. I am wherever you're listening to podcasts. And as always, don't you dare touch that dial.